Hi, Lexi Daly here with this week's episode of Make It Monday for Paper Tray Ink. Today we're going to stamp outside of the box. So stamping outside of the box is a technique I use often. In the early days, it meant stamping your image and creating a layer around it, but leaving part of it sticking outside of the layer and fussy cutting that part. Here's a quick card I whipped up to show you that traditional stamping outside of the box. Now in the days of die cuts, I still use this design technique, but I use it more layering with either paper or stamped images. So today I was going to show you how I've transitioned to using the same idea, the same design concept of leaving something sticking outside of a square or rectangle in my layout for visual interest, but in the different ways that I use it now. So this is the original, and I'm just going to set that aside. Using the same stamps, I created the look that I tend to go for these days. This one for my box, I stamped my box with a pattern stamp, and then I used my die cut to stick outside of the box. I made sure to choose a pattern stamp that was a little bit shorter than my image. Your image could be sticking off other sides too, but I chose to go with this candle, and I wanted the flame to pop out. So it's a pretty simple birthday card that we're going to make today. Then I'll show you some other examples of how I use this layout technique to make my cards visually interesting. So let me set that aside, and we'll make a new one. I chose to go with a 4-bar note card. I like the smaller size sometimes, especially when I'm using smaller images. And I'm using my Misty, just kind of eyeballing where I put things. I'm never too much of a measure unless I really have to be, as I've said many times. I'm just going to get my basic stamping done first, and then I'm going to do my die cut. Alright, so now I have my parts. This is pretty simple, straightforward card, but I have my die cut, and I've got my box layer, and when I place my die cut, I'm simply going to make sure that part of it is sticking outside of the box. I could, do it over here. For this card, I think if I had some words to put in the box, I would have put the cupcake off center, but for this one, I'm just going to center it right above Happy Birthday. But before I do that, because the card is so simple, I do want to add a little extra something, and we're just going to glitter the frosting. Just a simple little bit of sugar on top, if you will. And as easy as that. Dust off the extra. And then we'll stick it right on the card. All right, so very clean and simple and straightforward. But now you can see the traditional way with the fussy cutting to have it above the box and an extra layer behind it to really set it off, versus the stamped and die cut way. Now I also have just some of my previous cards to share to show you. Here's another one where I used, I guess I love polka dots and pink, but I used pink polka dots as my background box. This time the sentiment did fit inside, and I had just the spoons sticking out above the top. Again, another similar layout. I tend to like things off to the right hand side of the card. And more polka dots, a little frame on this one even, which mimics the original look of the stamping outside of the box with my candle sticking up again and the sentiment below. I used it also in the last Make It Monday with my balloons, having my background box and the balloons sticking off two sides of it. I think this layout would also look really nice with a butterfly here and off to the side, even if you centered it and had some butterflies coming off of the corners off of a background box. And then here's one with a present, and I used the box to hold the sentiment, and I just stuck a little bit of the present above so that it really highlighted the colors of the bow and the box itself. So it's just a layout strategy, if you will, just of having a background layer of sorts, either with paper or with stamping and paper or with just stamping, and having something sticking outside of that layer. So there you have it, an updated take on an old technique for creating quick and easy, clean and simple cards with visual interest. Head on over to Nicole's blog to get all the scoop on how to play along and link up. Thanks for watching. This has been Lexi Daly for Paper Tray Inc. Bye.